Hello there, everybody, and thanks for joining me today for this special live stream to celebrate reaching 60,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching and for subscribing and for helping me reach that goal. So I'm going to be doing a special drawing today. I'm going to be creating a shirt design in vector format, and then I'm going to make that shirt available on Spreadshirt. Nicole's here, Ennis is here, Eliza's here. Nicole says congratulations. Thank you, Nicole. Can you all see me and hear me clearly? Icaros is here, Vivian's here from Hungary. Sierra's here, Dennis is here. Thanks for joining. Josh is here. And Anita, what's up, Anita? Good to see you. Okay, Nicole says that I can be heard. Good. Okay, well, some background music going too. Let me know if that's too loud or too quiet. X Digitable is here. Phantom's here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. The concept here is a shirt that says digital art, and each one of the letters is a different tool that you might see over here, like in the toolbar in different applications. So we have, I don't really use Sketchbook Pro, but it has I'm not sure what you call that. Whatever that thing is, the ruler with the arch. I know it has a name. I never use it. Paintbrush, and you got your lasso tool, your magic wand, your T, which is usually that same T that you see in every text tool. You got your black arrow, or I'm sorry, this is the white arrow. Then you got your crop tool for the L, big black arrow for the other A. Couldn't figure out what to do for the R. I thought scissors might work, but they don't really fit into an R shape. So I figured maybe some little nodes for like a vector thing. And then the T could be the dropper tool. Eliza says can't hear the music. I'll turn it up a bit. This is royalty-free music from John Delly and the Players. Okay, so this is my sketch that I just did roughly in, I think it was Photoshop. And then I want to lock that. I can zoom in here and start drawing each of these things. I'm using Adobe Illustrator for this, so we know that, well, there's a few different ways that we could make this. Use an ellipse tool. Oh, I need to make a new layer. Use the ellipse tool to get nice curve like that. We can cut it in half like so. I'm selecting both of these shapes. I'll make them different colors so that you can see more clearly what I'm doing. So one shape overlaps the other. And then you can use the pathfinder. You subtract minus front. Bam. You could also have made a stroke. And we can copy that and paste that, put it right on top, shrink it down a bit. It'll take a little manipulating to get it even. And I'm not going to worry about this being absolutely perfect because each of these things will end up being pretty small, so I want to keep them pretty simple. That could bump over just a bit more. And then these nodes can go up a bit. Oops. Try that and see if that's good enough. scoot these a bit more. There we go. That's better. I'll try to catch up on comments here. Phantom says this looks interesting. Thank you, Phantom. Suspiciously Misguided got their first Wacom. Excellent. Eliza asks, for starting to learn how to draw, do you recommend a tablet or a pad to plug into your computer? If you've never drawn anything before on regular paper or on a tablet, I get this question a lot. I don't think it really matters. You know, drawing is drawing. Whichever is more convenient for you, whichever you think you'll do more. You know, if you think you're more interested in a tablet, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think I'm more drawn towards drawing digitally than drawing traditionally. I mean, I got a whole room full of art supplies. I could do acrylic paintings all day, and I got so many colored pencils. You know, I could make a colored pencil drawing a day for the next 40 years, but it doesn't interest me, and so I don't do it. And if it means spending more time making art, working with one medium versus another, and not working with it hardly ever, you should choose the one that you're most interested in working with. So, but one medium or one form of art, digital or traditional, is not going to be easier than the other or easier to learn for a beginner. I think, you know, it might be less stressful to work digitally in some ways because you don't have to worry about like smudging your drawing and different things like that. So, but then there are some frustrations that come along with working digitally too. So it might be cheaper and easier just to do it traditionally because all you got to do is you probably have some paper lying around the house. And that's really all you need besides a pencil. Said I wasn't going to be nitpicky about this, but here I am tweaking all these handles. I don't want some graphic designer to look at this later and pick my video apart and go, he didn't move his anchor points and adjust his curves. Okay, so might help since apparently my knowledge of what this thing is a little... Okay, it is a protractor, that's what I thought. I just want to get an idea of how it looks so that I make my drawing pretty close to how it's supposed to be. Guess we'll have some lines coming off of the top here. I'm looking to make them thicker because I want these to maybe be... I'm going to try to keep this a single color. If you don't count the background color, a single color. With the background color, then it'll be two colors. Because I want this to be really easily printed. So I'm going to be doing a lot of punching shapes out of other shapes. Lots of comments here. This is good. I'll try to read as many as I can, but if they go past me, I'll periodically try to have a catch up on comments time where you can re-ask your question. So I'm sorry if I miss anything. Shaddix asks, if I drew a picture on paper, would I be able to make an outline over it in Adobe Illustrator? Yes, there is an auto trace feature where you can automatically trace it. You'd have to scan it in first or take a good picture of it with good even lighting. Or you could use something like the new Intuos Draw, or not the Intuos Draw, the new Intuos Pro paper version, which actually has a really neat feature. I'm about to get one pretty soon here to review, but you can actually put a pad of your favorite paper on top of it, and then you can use a special pen, draw all your artwork just on paper as you would normally. You don't even have to have it connected to a computer. It can actually store it just on the tablet, so you could just be like wherever, you know, not even anywhere near your computer. Stores all the information, then you plug it into your computer and you can download it as either a bitmap image, which is, you know, just regular pixels, or as a vector format. Or you could do what I'm doing here. I have a sketch. This may as well be a pencil sketch because I just did a loose sketch. It doesn't matter that I did it digitally. And what I'm doing is just drawing my vector layers on top of that. But this is a very different style of artwork than some people might do. So in that sense, it works well for this because this is a lot of geometric shapes that are going to get combined together. But if I was doing, you know, comic book art or something, I might not do it this way. I might have a different process. Okay. So here's where it's going to get tricky. I could try to eyeball it, and I could probably do a decent job of putting in all these lines that are, I'll show you what we're going to have. We're going to have lines that radiate out like this, right? But I don't want to have them all be all sloppy. I want to know that they're pretty spot on. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this, not the star tool, I'm going to use the polygon tool. Put a polygon there. How many divisions should it have? A real protractor is split up into a particular set of degrees, and I don't know that I need to list every single little line on it because it'll be too complicated for a graphic, so I only want to do a few. Let's try 6. And actually, no, I did want the star tool. Problem is all these applications are different. They all have similar tools, but they're all very different. Let's say, well, we want to do 12 because we want 6 on one side. And then we need to do radius 1, 50, radius to 1. And basically what we get here is just this little line thing. I might do more than that. I might do 24 sides. I'm just tapping once. So radius 1 is like, this would be radius 1, the inner part of the circle, and the outer part of the circle would be the other part of the radius. So I'm doing one really long and one really short, which gives me this. I scale that up, and then I know that degrees are proper. I don't have to worry about eyeballing it. I don't know if they're exactly proper, but at the very least they radiate out evenly without me having to draw them all. Okay. So then now, here's where it's going to get a little tricky. And I'm winging it here too. Like I've never drawn stuff like this before, but I've used Illustrator enough to know what I can get away with. And it's good to use shapes to cut out other shapes. See if we can get this to work the way I want it to. Sweet, it worked. See how I cut that out there? Using the old Pathfinder. Get rid of these. And then these. Let's see if we can get away with doing that again. Copying it, pasting it in place so that it's on top. And then I divide. Oops. That basically cuts both of those shapes on top of each other. And then, unfortunately, it put those little dashes on there, and that's not what I wanted to do, though. Let's see here. Let's take off the fill. If we can punch this out of this. Oh, that did not work. Try no stroke on that. I'm gonna have to take this and probably expand it. And now maybe it'll let us. There we go. Let's see if that will work. Try punching it out again, and then I'm going to go to edit, paste in place, and I got that there. Let's see if that ends up looking the way I want it to. Nope, that does not look the way I want it to. Okay, backtrack a bit here. Made it too thick, that's the problem. Try this with a stroke now. I wonder if that reads as protractor or not. What does everybody think? Pull up an image of a protractor. Because I only want it to be one color, so that's where it's going to get tricky. I can't have black on top of gray. I can't make too fine lines on it because it's got to be a very simple design. So it would be simple, very simple, like the icons over here. You know, these icons aren't super detailed. They're the bare minimum that give you an idea of what that is. Okay, it looks fine. Good enough. Excellent. And we will live with that. So we got the D. And then this is more or less how it will look, because it's not going to have a stroke. I can fill it in, I'll just give it a color. I need to punch that out of that. There we go. And I think I'm going to be a little picky here. I'm going to draw a couple of other lines on it. Move this window out of the way here. Okay. Just to speed things up, I'm going to use the rectangle tool rather than strokes. I just want a few lines here on this. And we'll space them evenly from each other using vertical distribute from the center. Make sure it's centered. I think I like that better. We need to use the Pathfinder to punch the shapes out of the other shapes. Otaku Game says, my dream is to become a concept artist, but I can't choose between character concept artist or environment artist, so I'll have to do both. Yeah, you know, I don't know enough about the industry to know whether or not you can do both. I'm sure you probably end up, for the sake of efficiency, getting tasked to do one or the other. Maybe you end up being really good at one or the other, and that's, you know, what you get hired for. But I would say to be a well-rounded artist, no matter what industry you're in, it's good to have a lot of different disciplines. You know, like if you can be a good character and environment artist, that's even better. You have the edge over people who can only do one or the other. But then you also got to factor in, like, maybe you can't be as good as somebody who specializes in one or the other because you're splitting your time between the two. So I might just go based on whatever makes you happy, you know? Okay. So we can move on from the D. This little floating piece here. Now we got the paintbrush. This ought to be a little bit easier. Again, I'm going to start with a primitive shape for the top of the brush. Probably one for the bottom as well. If you've watched my painting tutorials, you'll know that I always say when you're trying to build complex shapes, you want to use primitive shapes to build up the forms. Well, same thing when you're working in vector. Everything's a primitive shape, and you can really easily piece things together to get the rough structure and then move a few anchor points around to refine it. Okay, I'm gonna move this out of the way so I can see the doodle that I did. So I want move a few things around here. I'm changing my mind here. I'm gonna start with a different shape for the bottom. I'm gonna start with a rectangle for that. This will just be easier. Trying to count how many spaces I move it over. It'll be easier to round out the bottom like this. Okay, so I'm going to select the top two anchor points using my white arrow there. I'm going to round that off, select the bottom two, round that off, and then I think I might want to go more freeform with the top of the brush. So I didn't mean to intersect it with that shape there like that. Need to turn off the fill. Give it a fill now because it'll be easier to move, and I'll be able to see how it's going to look kind of overlapped there. It needs to be bigger, wider at least. I'm going to smooth out some of these curves using the smooth tool. Just paint over it and that smooths it out nicely there. And then I'll zoom in, and looks a little more complicated than it needs to be up here at the tip. I might smooth that a bit more. And I think I want to punch this out of this. And I want to copy this part. And paste it back where it came from. And move it up. I get that separated effect there. I might make that a bit thicker so it's more obvious. Okay, let's see how this looks as a solid color. So far, so good. kind of want to put a little shine line on it. Maybe I'll do that. We'll see if that helps or hurts the piece. And then I can also make it a more tapered stroke down here in my profile. Yeah, I like that. I'll play with the spacing and balance of everything a little bit later too. Right now I just want to draw all the shapes in. Odile says, congratulations on 60K. Thank you, Odile. Lots of people watching today. That's excellent. I think it helps to do these on the weekend. No, I always do them when people are probably at school or something or at work, but that's when I'm at work too, and that's what I do for work sometimes, is do live streams, so that's why. This one, I guess I could just, again, use my ellipse tool. Make it a bit thicker this time. Draw an oval. Rotate it. I want this to look like a G. This is an easy one. All I gotta do to this is just increase the stroke width. Not too wide though. And then just finesse it a bit. Like I want the end cap to be round. I want it to look more like a lasso, so I'm gonna try to, if that helps. I was going to make that less symmetrical, but I won't. I think I like it the way it is. Let's increase the point size just a bit more. I want it to be comparable in weight to everything else. If that were going to be bigger, I'd give it rope lines to make it look more like a rope, but I don't think it needs to look like a rope. Would I advise not getting a cracked version, or would I recommend it for Adobe CS6? I would not get a cracked version, because you could get a virus or something, or spyware. I would just stick with the older version that you have. If you have CS6, not much has changed that's really all that important, so if you got that, stick with that. As far as paying monthly for the Adobe Creative Cloud, if you do make money off of whatever it is that you're using it for, let's say it's graphic design or art or whatever, if it's part of your business, then that is a business expense, and technically speaking, you can write it off on your taxes, and you're really not paying for it. It's an investment in your business, and so it means that at the end of the year, I mean, I'm not like a tax expert or anything, but it seems like if you spend money on your business, that's less money that you have to pay in taxes, so that makes it worth it to buy all that stuff. It's a good way to justify it. Go, all right, you know, I'll buy that software or whatever because it's a tool that I use to make money, and so it's worth it. Okay, so magic wand. But you do whatever you want. You do whatever your conscience tells you there. Magic wand. That ought to be pretty easy. It's just basically a big stick with a couple sparkles coming out of it. I do want to make it shorter like that. I want it to have a top part. And I could have it taper off on the bottom. I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 taps on my arrow key. That helps me keep track of how much I tapered it. So I want it to be even on both sides. Okay. Round off the top a little bit too. And the bottom. And then this I want to be an outline, not a fill, so that it's clear that the top, I want the stroke to be aligned to the inside of it. I don't like that. We need some little sparkles. I think I'll use, well, I don't know if I want to use stars or not use stars. Let's see what we do. I don't know. I don't want this to be much shorter. Let's say, oh, you could always think of it. I just think of it in like nice round numbers, like 10. You know, 10's a good way to go, because then you can think of the proportion. You know, if it's like a 10 point to a 50 point, that's like a 1 to 5 ratio. So let's say, let's try 10 to 30. How many points? Let's try 4 points. Right on the money. Look at that. Didn't get any better than that. And we'll just bump the top up. We'll just distribute them evenly from each other and group them, move them down. I want to group the top and the bottom of the wand too. I want to tilt it a bit. I'm going to tilt it away from the, tilt it away from the T. Group all that. So far, so good. A little shine mark on that wouldn't hurt too, to make the wand look shiny. I want that to be white. And I want it to have that same profile, but it can be much thinner. Be careful about going too thin on some of this stuff, because depending on how you're going to have it printed, it's like a screen print or a vinyl, they can only cut it so small. I think actually I want to put the shine on the other side of this. I want to have the brush tilted a bit too. I might actually just take it and flip it. Just me, or does anybody else find it annoying that, like, in Photoshop when you want to transform something it's under Edit, but in Illustrator it's under Object, and it always seems like it's in a different place in every application. Okay, this T will be the easiest one. Just bust out the type tool and type in a T. Of course, we need the right font. I don't know if it's Georgia. Georgia's close. Times is close. But do I want it to look exactly like the icon? That's the question. I'll find one that looks more like it. I guess I could just make one. Maybe in lazy to see if I have one. I don't, so let's just make one. That's not a big deal. All we really need to do is first take this, well, let's make it, well, I want it to be a bit thicker. I'll make my own so that I have control over it. Just a few lines, but I want to be able to control the thickness, and I have less control over how thick the font is going to be. So sometimes you think you're being lazy and you're doing it the easy way, and then you realize that nope, that was actually the hard way to do it. Okay, and one of these serifs on the bottom, that's what these are called. If you've ever heard of serif and sans serif font, serifs are these little doodads. So when something is a serif font, it has little doodads. When it's a sans serif, it does not have them. I'll align these. Let's just go ahead and group all this stuff here. And we'll group these bottom ones. Grouping them together helps me center them. Because if I tried to center them and they were not grouped, then all three of these pieces would all center on each other. That wouldn't be good. Somebody says, should I have put the center of the star on the outside rather than the inside? The lines aren't correct. On which one? Are we talking about the protractor, or are we talking about the wand? Because I'm not really sure exactly where the lines go. They kind of go across on the whole thing, don't they? I don't mind fixing it if it makes it look better. Yeah, on my example, the one I have here, I mean, I haven't heard back from you, but I'm assuming you mean the star that I used for the protractor. If not, then correct me, but the lines go all the way across, so to me it doesn't really seem to matter if I do them from the top or from the bottom. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe you mean these stars. I think these stars look fine, so I'm not changing those. So I'm going to group all the T stuff together. Got my T, and actually, I see that these need to go up. I may as well just make it easy on myself and then merge these together. I don't have any issues with them. Just going to expand the whole thing and then use the Unite Pathfinder, and now this is just all one single shape. Lawrence is here. What's up, Lawrence? Thank you. Anita's watching while she studies for my math teacher credential test. For her math credential can't talk today. For her math teacher credential test, so relaxing and makes my studying better. Thank you. Airbrush Mel says, Aaron, I think you're a great guy doing what you do. I admire you and know you inspire people. You are obviously a brilliant digital artist, and I take my hat off to you. Thank you. I take my hat off to you as well. See why I'm wearing a hat. Okay. The arrow tool. Now the white arrow tool looks different in different applications. So I'm gonna just, because I'm gonna have two different A's, I'm gonna use one design and a different design that separates them. So we just want a triangle. 3 sides. And we want to scale it up. And squish it. And then we just need a rectangle under that. We'll go skinny like that. The Christmas tree shape there. And then in some applications, the little parts of the triangle here, they kind of point down, so I think we should do that. We should just add a anchor point to the center there. Can't tell if I got it because there's stuff in the way. Let's see. There we go. Scoot that up like that. Put that back there. We got our arrow. We can expand that. And we can fuse it together. And we want to reverse the stroke and fill because we want it to be white. Airbrush Mel appreciated the hat off. Lawrence knows what's up. I always see Lawrence wearing a hat too. It's like we got all this other stuff going on. We're drawing all day. We don't have time to take showers and fix our hair. Just put on a hat. I'm mostly wearing a hat just because my office is in a basement, and it's cold down here in the winter. Okay, so the L is going to be a crop tool. That ought to be pretty easy as well. Lawrence has had a couple of pretty cool live streams. He had the War of the Worlds one, and then he did kind of a sci-fi spaceship, people looking out at an exploding spaceship. It was pretty cool. So if y'all don't know Lawrence's channel, definitely go check it out. You can probably click on his name there and take you to his channel. I want to make This is not thick enough. Or it's not that it's not thick enough, I think it's... These are too long. Something's wrong with it. Let's see. This is going to be a tricky one. Okay, let's try that. Use those together. Let's see. I'm just looking at different crop tools. Some of them have a little strike through line, but I don't think I'm going to do mine like that. I want to try to make them even. I'm just looking at these squares here to see if these are even. I'm going to eyeball it. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. And one of these will be foreground, one of these will be background. So I want this one to be background. I'm going to go Object, Arrange, send it to the back. Then I'm going to reverse stroke and fill. And this one needs a fill of white for now. It also needs to be copied and pasted in place. Actually, I just want to cut that. Let's see. I need to go Object, Expand, Fill and Stroke. This needs to be cut out of this. And then I go to Edit, Paste in place what I cut earlier. And I need to go to Expand again. I need to delete the inner part. And select both of those and fuse them together, and voila. You can see I've got my cutout crop shape there. Like once you get Illustrator down, you can really do anything. Now I think because of the way this worked out, I need to bump these out. Okay. Hopefully that reads as a L. Otaku says, I only cut the sides of my hair and let the middle part grow long. That's how a lot of people are doing it nowadays. I'm growing mine out. If you look at probably most of the videos that I have up, I started my YouTube channel after I cut my hair because I used to have long hair. And so most of my videos have short hair, but then I guess it gets longer and longer as the videos go on. Now it's pretty long. It's like that long now. I'll probably keep it around this length. I don't think I'll grow it much longer than that. We'll see. Problem with growing your hair out and having a YouTube channel is it really screws with your branding. You know, I made this cool animated intro with the haircut that I kind of used to have, and then now it's like if I put that in front of my videos, they're going to be like, well, who's the guy with the short hair introducing the guy with the long hair? So now I'm making all these little branding character cartoon avatars, whatever you want to call them, and putting them on my videos and in the videos. And they all have the hair length that I have now, but you know, what if I get my hair cut? Then I got to change all those thumbnails. But it's like, you know, it's kind of lame that in order to keep a, well, I don't know in order to keep it, but it's beneficial to your presence as a social media influencer, as a, you know, anybody who's marketing themselves to have consistent branding, and that means that you have to try to look the same for however long. I don't know that I agree with that. I think I'm fine changing my appearance rather than looking the same forever. Erkan says, am I working with a mouse and keyboard now? I'm working with both. I'm holding my pen. I'll show you on the camera here. So here's my trackball mouse. I'm holding my pen and I'm using my trackball mouse at the same time. So a lot of stuff, there's going to be quite a few things that are easier to do with the trackball, but I'm also doing a lot with my pen as well on the screen. So that's just kind of, you know, I've been working like that for a long time, and I'm sure people do it with regular mice too rather than trackballs, but it's just kind of my thing, so I get the best of both worlds. Tassograph says, hi Aaron. Hi Tassograph. Nicole wants to know, how long have I been drawing? Since I was a wee lad. I don't know exactly how long specifically, but since I was, you know, probably old enough to pick up a crayon. Doesn't mean that you have to draw that long to be good at drawing or to have fun with it, though. You could start today and you could be a, you know, you could be a master. Just takes practice. Okay. So we know, you know, if I was smart, which I'm not, I would have kept the layers for my shape here separate, and you can do that. There are ways to have live shapes that combine together, but I don't need to mess with all that nonsense. I'll make another shape here. It's fine. So all I need to do is add that vertex or that anchor point or the node or whatever you want to call it. They all have different names, but they're all the same thing. And it's a shallowish shape there. And the question is, do I want to put an outline around that? And I think the answer to that is yes. Trying to visualize how I need to do this to make that happen. If this will work. Where did my red go? You know, my swatches disappeared here. This. Nope, that's what I wanted to do. Let's try making that inner stroke thinner. Maybe that needs to be thicker and the outer one needs to be thinner. Yeah. Okay, I'm being picky about that. I want this to be noticeably bigger. Aaron, is it good to use a mouse and pen for someone who's drawing with the left hand but uses a mouse with the right hand? Drawing with the left hand but use the mouse with the right hand. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing. I mean, I think it's, if it works for you, then do it. I'm certainly not ambidextrous, so I can only use the same hand for both. But if it works for you, you know, I would say go for it. What might be a little confusing is that when you're moving your cursor with your pen, wherever you put your pen down, that's where your cursor is going to be. However, if you lift your pen up and you're using your mouse is going to move your cursor from wherever that point, from wherever it already is. So it's moving the cursor in two different ways, and you can't move the cursor with both your pen and the mouse simultaneously. You can only do one at a time. So I can see maybe that might be a little confusing, but I don't know. Guess you'd have to try it and see. Anita said, I started drawing recently before it was looked down upon me and my family. So after I graduated high school, I went to college and studied a different kind of art, film. Yeah, I think if what you're saying is you started out doing traditional art and people weren't necessarily supportive of it, and so you felt like you needed to go to college to do something else, like film, and maybe you were more accepted for that. No, when I decided I wanted to be an artist, I got a lot of, I didn't get the exact response that I wanted to get. It was not necessarily encouragement, I'll tell you that. It was like, you know, be practical, and it's hard to make money as an artist. That's true, it is. But just because something's hard doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to do it. And I had to try several times more, and, you know, I'm still trying on a daily basis to be an artist, and if you're willing to put in that effort, you can do anything you want to do. Okay, so now we want to do the little squares for the R, the nodes. I'm going to hold shift to make sure I get a square. And I need to reduce the weight drastically. I don't want it to be too thin though. Okay. And then we can connect that with the pen tool. Okay, let's do this though. Let's turn off. Ugh, getting crazy on me here. Gotta turn off my fill. Better. That line, I want to make sure I move it to the back. So arrange into the back, and then I want to make it a dashed line. And let's say 6, no, I want to go the other way, 24 is what I want. Let's say 20. I'll thicken up the weight. Sweet, looking good. Bring these in. And then I think the weight is a bit too thick. Gotta find the balance between being too thin and too thick, because if it's too thin, it's not going to show up or print. If it's too thick, it's just not going to read like it's supposed to. So I think what I need to do, probably bump the weight up a bit more. I need to make the nodes bigger. No. I'll deal with it being thicker than I want it to, because it has to be pretty thick. Gina is being nitpicky on the protractor. Well, I didn't see your response there on how to fix it. I'm more than happy to fix it. So is what you're saying that the lines should be coming from the inside out? It's a few seconds behind, says Nicole. Yes, there is a bit of a delay between what I say and what you see, or what you hear, and then I have to catch up on the comments have to catch up with the video. Let's see, I'm just looking at some other images of protractors. And from what I can tell, the lines are on the inside and the outside. Yeah. Yeah, even on some simple drawings. So, I mean, you know, I think it's good enough for what it is. I mean, I could get into detail about, like, you know, some of these, every other one of these should be thicker and stuff like that, but I won't worry about it. But feel free to let me know if everybody agrees that it should be the other way. I don't mind changing it, because I want this to look as good as it can, and sometimes it takes other people looking at it who can see those little details that I overlook. Droppers, the last tool here. Droppers, pretty easy. I'm gonna go with a rectangle. You can use ellipses, it's just the way the anchor points are set up on ellipses. It's a little tricky to use. I know it's kind of an elliptical shape, but it's easier to use a rectangle and then round the edges. Technically, it's a cylinder, which is closer to a cube than a sphere, as far as the vertices that are on it, if you want to get technical about it. And I could use the rounded rectangle tool, but this just, I don't know, gives me more control, I guess, doing it this way. I want to put a couple anchor points in the end here. I want to make sure that they're aligned with each other. You can click on anchor points and you can line them up. Need a few more. Kind of, on an eyedropper, it kind of dips in the middle. That's what I'm trying to do here. You'll see in a minute. I'm not paying attention to how many I'm going in. I need to do a better job of that. Okay, I'll round these first, and I'll round these separately. And then why not? I'll just use the rounded well, no, that's... Problem is with the rounded rectangle tool, you have to keep setting the rounding Versus this, you can do it with the live corners. I feel it's better. And then move this up. Why does it not want to go up? Come on, you move up. What is going on with this? It does not want to scale. Make you scale. So these can be solid. Make sure they're centered. Make sure this is all centered. YT Deluxe wants to know, what should I get, Photoshop or Illustrator? You're using Intuos Art Medium. It depends on the kind of art that you want to do. Do you want to do vector art like this, where you're placing individual little points, or do you just want to be able to like freehand draw stuff? Now, you can freehand draw stuff in Illustrator. There's a blob brush tool where I can just draw whatever I want to draw. But they're two different forms of art, and the way that you approach them is very different, and the way that you would use them is very different. In the end, they're still nice things to look at. They're images, and people can appreciate that, but I don't know, it's really up to you. And there you can do some vector stuff in Photoshop too, so hard to say. I don't know if I have a good answer for that. If you're gonna want to do a lot of like photo editing and stuff, then you probably would want Photoshop, but I don't know. It's a hard one. And you could just get the Creative Cloud, and then you'd have access to both, and then everything else. All the Photoshop stuff. Kyle says congrats on 60K. Thanks, Kyle. Okay, let's move our group art dropper and move it up. Now let's hide our background thing. Now it's time to do some finessing of this. So, quick question. Does this read as digital art? And I know you kind of have to be a digital artist or a graphic designer to recognize these tools and to understand what it's supposed to say, but does it look like a bunch of hieroglyphics, or does it look like it says digital art? You get to be the judge. Got it 100%, says meh. Maybe that was meh. I might just look at it smaller too and see if it reads from further away. I think it does. Make sure all my shapes are grouped together here. And then I also want to put in a new layer. Make sure I didn't miss anything in the background. And I can see that I did. I missed plenty of stuff. All that white stuff needs to go. Artboard doesn't need to be so big. Let's make that smaller. Okay. So I need to go in here. I need to punch. I need to first expand that, and then I need to punch it out of this. Like that. Do that on here as well. Let's see that I did not group that together. Oops. See, if you don't expand the stroke first, it won't work. Oh, I gotta ungroup these. Pop that out of there. I'll lock this background so I don't accidentally select it. Group those back together. This whole thing needs to be expanded. I should just be able to take that. Oops. Nope. I need to punch that out of the other one. There we go. This one will be a little tricky. I've said that about all these, haven't I? Expand the appearance on these. And let's ungroup them. I have to ungroup all these too. And expand that stroke. Let's see if I can do all these at the same time. Nope. Okay, let's try them one at a time then. Might have to do this. Looks kind of cool as a two-color piece. Paste in place. This. Expand this. And just delete those pieces that overlap. I forget that one. Okay. Looking good. Looking good. Let's see on the comments here. More space between the L and the A. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm still going to finesse the size of all the letters and the placement. I want to make sure that each of these reads as a letter. Lee says about the protractor, the only way I can explain what I see is I think the graduation should intersect at one point. Well, they should intersect at one point because they came from a star, and that star started right here on the ruler itself, and it started, and it would have come out at a right angle on this line here, and then it would have come out from degrees off of that, so it would have gone out like that, right? I'd hate to make this shirt and have everybody who walks up to me go, "Hey, protractor looks wrong," so I want to make it look right. If we need to fix it, then that's what we need to do. So they should intersect at one point. So I'm not sure if I understand. I'm not sure if I understand how to do that. Because they should. I'm again looking at a picture of a protractor. Okay, optical illusion then. Well, I'll just show you real quick. Because I mean, I admit something is off about it because I didn't take the time to like make it look exactly like a protractor, and if I did, it would have too much detail. So I'm alright with it looking a little odd, but if it just straight up does not look like a protractor, if it doesn't even remotely resemble like a cartoon protractor, then I'm not on the right track. If it does, then I think we can live with that. So just to show you how I got that there, let's see if I can get my star. So I'm going to use black here for this. So I'm on the intersection of the very center point of the protractor, and I'm going to click. I'm going to make a star that has 24 points so that on one side of it there's 12 individual lines. I'm going to make radius 1, 1. I'm going to make radius 2, 50. Maybe that's where I'm messing up. Maybe the radius is off. So I got my star. Then I'm just expanding it from the center, so I'm not moving it left or right, and it's staying right on that line. And when you zoom in here, is this not how a protractor works? You got your center point and you have your degrees that converge. Maybe I don't use the thing, so maybe I'm not understanding how it's supposed to work, but that's how I did it. Now, if it seems to make sense that maybe the lines come out from this side, if that makes it look better, maybe that's what I need to do. Apple Watch Center says, looking at this video, it seemed like you were working fairly slow, but you made something pretty solid in 30 minutes. I'm working slow because I'm kind of talking while I'm doing it. You know, I could have done this a little bit faster, but yeah, I mean, as long as it's been going. Well, I've been doing it for about an hour and 18 minutes, so, you know, yeah, in 30 minutes I probably could have done this in 30 minutes without talking. The easy way to do the lines is add an anchor point in the middle of the shape and then trace the lines to that point. That's true, I could do that. But then making sure that they're all perfectly spaced from each other. I just feel like the star was easier, but that's the good thing about Illustrator is there's, you know, 101 ways to do everything. So now balancing it out. This is how I would do it. This is how I do it when I do logos. Get my rulers. I find a common point. I'm gonna make sure my guides aren't locked. This is another thing where it's like guides are always hiding in somewhere different in each application. Top of the T could be my reference point here, bottom of the T, other reference point. Then you keep it on what's falling within the lines or what's falling outside, and I think it's okay if it's a little bit staggered and completely uneven, but I want to have a feel for like what the baseline is and how everything flows and fits within that like core rectangle. Because some things will fit, like the crop tool, for example. That can be right on the line there. I don't mind if the arrow goes a little bit above and beyond it. And the G maybe can stay within it. Or the lasso, I guess, you want to call it that. And then I wonder if I need to group all this stuff. I wonder how the R would look if that, oops. See how the R would look if I put that within that little area there. Hmm. And now I'm going to myself a lot. I'm just thinking about this and what works. I think I'm going to trust my first instincts on how I place this. And I'm not going to worry about having too much fit within these two lines. I don't want these to get too crowded, but I will scoot them in a bit. Everything needs a bit of space between it. And then just make sure to have enough space between the digital and the art so that it's obvious that they're two different words. And then might make the protractor bigger. This is kind of the leading letter there. So this has a particular angle. It needs to match the other angle of the other arrow. That's what it looks like if I center it. Here's me being picky and overthinking it. These little finishing touches, though, that really make or break the piece. You don't want to leave it all sloppy if it isn't working. Watch, I'll just end up putting it back just about how it was. Here, for instance, I'm using my mouse a lot just because it's easier to click on these particular things. Lee says the horizon line should be the back of the protractor. Put the star at the back of the protractor. We could try that. We'll see how that looks. Sunrise says, I remember when Aaron Rutten was a tiny channel. Yep, wasn't that long ago. Am I making the channel banner? No, this is going to be a shirt design. But it probably very likely will get used in other things too. Like a channel banner. Okay, so let's try. We'll have a couple versions here. This is going to take a little reworking, but it's not the end of the world. And think of how I can do this the easiest way possible. So let's, for one, take this D. We'll put it separate. And then I guess we will have to I could have used the arc tool, I guess, but I'm not going to do that. I think that's pretty close. That looks pretty spot on. Okay. This to be on the inside. Okay. And then now I'll trim that. I'm going to switch that to a white. Oops. There we go. I'm trying not to redo as much as I can avoid redoing. What am I looking for? His tools are all hidden. Live paint bucket. Oops. Ungroup that. Didn't work. Come on. I gotta expand it twice. Let's see if that did it. There we go. All right, check that out. I have to do all my other steps. Okay, fresh D. I guess I don't mind redoing the other lines. So let's try what was suggested here. We'll do it from the outside. Is that what you're suggesting, like that? Or you mean like that? Probably like that. I guess that would make sense. That's what we want, huh? Because I guess if I understood how a protractor worked, it would probably make sense that this outer edge is something that you would use too. So the right angle, you would want it to come to a right angle there. I don't know. Guess we'll find out in a minute here. Gina says yes. All right, thank you for helping me with that. Let's make this thicker. It's one of the tricky things about art. Is you really have to understand what you're drawing, and if you don't, it gets tricky. Now I gotta remember how I did this. It was so elegant the way I did it before, and now it's like, am I gonna remember how I did that? Copy. Paste in place. Divide. I just made a big mess here. I don't think I did it the same as I did it before. That's okay. This is the not elegant way to do it. I'm gonna send this to the back. I'm gonna change the color of it too. I don't know how I did this the right way the first time, and now it's not as nice looking. Let's see, these need to be black. Let's make all this black. Oops, didn't want to do that. Probably save this too at some point, huh? Okay, saved. Make that black. Try that again. Wow, this is really the super long way to do this. Whatever, it's working. I want to take the time to think about how I did it last time. Okay, maybe it looks better having the lines go all the way through it anyways. Now we want to do our other lines. Rectangle tool will be easier. I'm gonna put out 4 of them. Select them all, holding Alt and dragging while holding Shift, and that's cloning them while keeping them all aligned. Select them all, space them out. And then pop. Actually, I think before I do that, Gina and Lee are sorry for being picky. That's fine. Like I said, I want it to look good. So it's gonna look way, you're saving me the hassle of me putting this shirt on and then walking up to somebody who's like a draftsman and they go, the lines are supposed to converge here, and then I'm like, duh. So you're saving me from looking stupid. I appreciate that. It looks much better now. Much, much better. So everybody thank Gina and Lee. Okay, so do a few more tweaks to this, and then take a look at putting it on a shirt. So let's see, where are we at as far as the overall boundary of this? I want to do that. R is kind of not exactly where I want it. Maybe this needs to go at an angle. That's what it is. That's better. Okay, if I keep working this any longer, I'm gonna work it to death. Okay. Saving it. So it's saved as an AI Adobe Illustrator file. It's been a while since I've made a shirt on Spreadshirt. I'm gonna log in there, and then once I get logged in, I'll show you what it looks like to do the design. Okay, so here we are on Spreadshirt. I went to create a design, upload an image. So they do take AI files, but they also take PNG, JPEG, GIF, SVG, EPS, and CDR. You're gonna get the best quality if you use a vector format. And I have a feeling that they probably don't, you upload a JPEG, that's gonna be probably like a, I don't know how to explain it. They're gonna have to print ink on top of like a big square or something, and so you're probably more than likely gonna have a square border around everything you upload if you do a JPEG. If you upload something with transparency, you might be able to get transparency around the edges, but if it's still not vector, you probably might end up getting that same square. If it's vector, however, you're gonna get just the shape cut out of vinyl or screen printed or whatever they do. I think it might be vinyl. So that's the effect that I want for this particular image. I'm gonna find that image on my computer. Give it a second to upload. Tub says, congratulations, please do more on the Wacom Intuos because I think I'm gonna get it. I don't know if there's much else I can say about the Intuos that I haven't already said, but if you have a question, feel free to let me know and I'll try to cover that. I feel like between the Intuos tutorial and FAQ and all that, I answered just about everything that can be said. Why is this a bunch of different colors? Is this a new feature where you can make it different colors? What's going on here? Okay, I want them all to be red, so... Or I don't want them to be red necessarily, I want them to be white. I think maybe it looks at the different layers of your art and makes them different colors. This is what I envisioned, something kind of like this. Bam. What do you think? Is that a cool design? Seb says, could you just draw with it, like do a speed paint? I could try that. I would have to do it with the Intuos Pro that I'll be getting soon because I don't have the I don't have the Intuos art anymore. I gave that away for a giveaway. The Intuos Pen and Touch, I think I still have. I might have given that to one of my artist friends. I'll have to look into that, but if I can, I'll do it. If not, then I'll keep that in mind for the Intuos Pro paper review that I'm going to do pretty soon. Phantom says this looks really nice. Thank you, Phantom. Nicole likes it. Lee likes it. T says, can I buy that shirt? I hope so. I hope everyone will buy it. This wasn't just a whole scheme to get people to buy shirts. I had this idea for a while. I wanted to make a video about how to design a shirt, and I thought it'd be more fun to do it in the live stream, so hey, I'm gonna buy a bunch of these shirts. That's what I'm gonna do after this live stream is over, unless I look at it and go, wait, I need to fix something. Let's see what they say. Let's say share and save. And you can make it any color and any size you want to if you do decide you want to buy this. You do want to buy it. This live stream is being recorded, and so it'll be up on my YouTube channel later after it's done processing when the live stream is over, and I'll put in the video description a link to buy the shirt. So share and save, I guess is what I want to do. No, I don't want to do that. I guess I want to do add to cart. I'm an XL. I think I might have built it in the wrong way here. I think I need to go into my I think I need to do this a different way. But you see how easy that is just to make a shirt. Like once the design's done, then you're good. Let's see, I need to be in my account. Upload designs. Okay, I did it in the wrong spot. You have to go to your account if you're a designer. So I'll just do that again, no big deal. And then you can select the number of colors. So here's where it automatically chose colors for me. I only want there to be one color, but you can use up to 3 colors. In my experience using Spreadshirt, and I don't know if it's like this with other shirt printers, but they do kind of a vinyl thing. And I'm not wearing one now, unfortunately, or I'd show you, but when you do layers of color on top of each other, you have vinyl on top of vinyl, and it looks cool at first, but after you wash it a bunch of times, and you, like, let's say you have the shirt for like a year, the vinyl that's on top of the vinyl starts to peel off. It just comes off like it's like tape or something, and so your shirt ends up being ruined. So in retrospect, I bought a bunch of shirts and I wore them and I got a lot of wear out of them, and they looked good until they fell apart, but they did fall apart eventually. So now when I'm going to design shirts through Spreadshirt, I'm going to stick to just one color, because when the vinyl bonds to the shirt, it stays on there a lot better. I'm going to confirm that I'm allowed to use this design. You all saw me create it from scratch, so there we go. Call it digital art logo, I guess. Digital art. Digital painting, I guess, is what we'll use. The Photoshop, Acrylic Painter, Art Rage. Submit design. Okay, now I need to make a product. So I need to go to new product. Choose design. And I thought I had uploaded it already, but I guess that didn't count when I uploaded it that that time there. It should, oh, maybe it just takes a minute to show up. I seem to recall, maybe that's what it is. Right again. Well, let's look in my designs then. Okay, we need to confirm the changes here. So you got to look in your designs, you got to click on this. It's all coming back to me. What they're saying is there's a couple areas here where it comes down to too fine of a point. Now you may not be able to see it because it's kind of small, but I'll show you exactly what they're talking about. And this is what I mentioned earlier. These two wedges come down to too fine of a point. So they can't cut the vinyl that thin. So what I need to do is I need to fix that. So I'm going to go in here. This is the easy fix. We'll just use the live paint bucket. Fill that back in. Remerge that together into a single shape. Let's see. Oh, I need to expand it because I live painted it. There we go. I need to do that here. I could leave it without the shine, but I like the shine, so I'm going to try to get away with using it. See, not only do you see how to make a design, but you see how to fix a design that's all jacked up. Okay. So what I can do is I can, rather than make a wedge, because they don't like the sharp points apparently, and I knew that when I made it, I'm going to do just a line. I want it to look shiny. And they will let me use a line, hopefully. We'll find out. I'll just make sure to make it nice and thick so that I don't get any more beef. Getting beef from a website. Don't tell me how to make my design website. Now the question is, do I like the way that looks? Yes, I think I do from a distance. I'm going to group that back together. I'll go in here and I'm going to do that for this as well, with a paintbrush. And I know I already forgot. I need to make that. I need to make this a cutout. That means I need to expand it. Actually, before I do that, I just want to look at it from far away. Not 100% happy with that yet. I think maybe could just do without it. What do you think, with or without the shine on the paintbrush? Or I could try doing this too. I could try making this hollow. stroke on the inside. That kind of looks cool, actually. I'm gonna do that. And then it helps it kind of stand out from the wand. Lee says with the shine. Well, what do you think about instead of the shine having it hollow like that? Talk about animations. Bitey says in order to animate you have to draw. Yeah, you gotta, I mean, to a degree you have to be able to draw. I mean, it depends on the kind of animation you want to do. There's plenty of animation that's stick figures and different things like that, so. Gina likes it hollow. Okay, I'm gonna leave it hollow. I think I kind of like the contrast that it creates by being hollow. I think I want to make the tip of that stumpier. Okay, so let's try this. I'm going to save this. We'll go back to Spreadshirt now. And I want to upload it again later. I'm going to click on Upload again. Locate that same AI file. Or the overwritten file, select one color, confirm, describe. I gotta type in this stuff again. So for now, this is a pain. So here's a pro tip for working with Spreadshirt. Whatever if you're going to take the time to put in a design name and keywords, make sure to copy and paste them into a separate note. That way, if you have to re-upload your design, you can just copy and paste and you don't have to type it all again like I do here. Because it may take you a few back and forth tries to get it. Okay, so I need to go back to my designs now. And then it's going to take a minute to be reviewed for compatibility. So we'll just have to wait here, refresh. And I guess while we're waiting, I'll answer some more questions. Lee says there's videos showing basic animation using Krita. Yes, those are some good resources, and Krita's pretty decent. That's what I used to do, the animated intro for some of my videos. I used Krita for that. A little bit of Photoshop to tweak it a bit. But I found I wasn't really too happy with how it worked. I think if I do another animation, I might try Adobe Animate. I know that was formerly Flash, and that's how I got into animation, as I started doing a lot of animations in Flash. And that's actually how I got into doing digital art. Because I didn't even know about Corel Painter or any of that stuff, or a drawing tablet. And I was working on animations, and I was reading a book about Flash, and they mentioned the brush tool and how you could use a tablet to make your pen thicker or make your brush stroke thicker or thinner using a tablet, and that's why I got a tablet. Gina says that's a great hint. I had the same problem with Zazzle. Yeah, it's annoying. You type a bunch of stuff in and you take all that time to do it, and then go, boop, it's rejected. Start over. Like, it's not a big waste of your time. Nicole wants to know if she's the youngest here. She's 10. I think there was somebody watching with their 6-year-old nephew. So maybe not. Nicole's been drawing for around 7 years. That's good. You probably started about when I started drawing then. Keep it up. Reagan's here. Hi, Reagan. Let's try refreshing now. Okay, let's confirm design. Now, for some reason, my eyedropper disappeared. What is up with that? Okay, well, I guess apparently I need to... I thought on the last version the eyedropper was fine, and now they got a problem with it. So yet again, I don't know what their problem is with my eyedropper. Maybe I'll make it bigger. Try that and see. It's just ridiculous. I'm just going to delete these two. Okay, let's try this again. It's gonna take me longer just to get Spreadshirt to approve the design than it did to make the dang thing. If I didn't take my own advice, I might have to do that. I don't want to have to open up a separate window. I got so many windows open right now. I'm gonna do it. Because I have a feeling that it's not going to be the last time I have to upload this. Okay. Gotta outsmart the computer. That's what you have to do. Now please, please take my design. Justin Credible's here. What's up, Justin? R was completely gone. I didn't see that. Maybe it was. I'll have to check that too. If it's going to be a hassle, I might not use Spreadshirt, or I might have to do a couple more tweaks to it later and then put it up, but it will be up and it'll be for sale. I don't want you all to have to sit here and watch me like submit and resubmit this. That's just boring. I'll give it a couple more tries and we'll see. I will get it eventually. But if it's too much of a hassle, I might just put it on Zazzle. Spreadshirt can lose out on my business for making their stuff too complicated. Okay, let's refresh and see. Go to confirm. Yeah, the R and the T are gone. I don't know what problem it has with those compared to everything else. So let me just look at those again and make sure that they're not something weird going on with them. Maybe these need to be fused together and that's the problem with that. Okay, let's see. So that's one solid shape. I'm gonna expand it. I'm gonna expand this. And I'm going to merge them. See, it prefers that, this is probably my fault. I had these kind of separate. It prefers one solid thing, one solid shape. Maybe that was my bad. And all of this I'm going to expand. It does not like strokes. Like for instance, that's a stroke. Or is it? No, it's not. I'm just going to make sure to ungroup and expand all these. Okay, let's see now. Maybe it'll like that better. I don't know why this is still one separate object though. I've ungrouped it several times. It does not want to seem to ungroup. So what's going on with this? It's a compound object. Well, let's see. Might have to make it thicker. Save it yet again. We'll just go to upload designs. One color, confirm for the millionth time here. But this time, I saved my notes, so I can save myself a little bit of time here. Justin asked if I got a pic on my Facebook page this morning from him. I don't think I saw it yet, but I'll check that out in a little bit after I'm done with this. Okay, let's see. Now, is that the same one or is that a different one? Okay, that's a different one. The one we want is down here. Still being reviewed. Just in the meantime, I'll just delete this extra one. This is just really a lot of unnecessary extra work. Come on and review it. We had a question about what this is. I am designing a shirt for Spreadshirt. So here's the design. You can watch the recording of this. It'll be up later, or you can rewind if you want to and see me create the design. Now I'm just trying to get Spreadshirt to take it. And that means tweaking a few things to make... There we go. See? Everything's showing up now. It's nice and happy. So what I had to do is I had to expand my strokes, and I had to unify any overlapping shapes into a single shape. Because basically what it's doing is it's looking at any overlapping shapes, and it's going to separate those into 3 different colors. So it got a little confused. It says it's going to adjust it. I don't see any difference looking at it now. All the tick marks are here on the protractor. It looks okay as far as I can tell from that small little image. So I'm going to say that's probably okay. I'm just looking at it carefully here to make sure I'm not wrong about that. You don't want to order a bunch of shirts and then find out that something's not right. You know, if I hadn't paid very close attention, I might have ordered this and it might have said digital A. The R and the T would have been gone. Okay. Create a product with this design. Oh, there's the one I designed earlier. How come that one worked fine? That's weird. That one didn't ask me to re-upload the design a million times. That one just worked. So new product, choose design. There's my digital art. Oops, got one too many digital arts there. We want that to be white. No, we want that to be white and that to be red. And then you have some options. I might do flock print. That might stick a little better to it. And then you can enlarge it to a certain point, but you can't go outside of that box. So I want it to be as big as possible. And then I might move it up a bit too, right about there. And color-wise, it can really be any color. So if anybody wants to order this, keep that in mind. You can get any color you want. You're probably going to see me wearing a bunch of these now on my channel. I'm going to do a red one. Go to create. Close designer. And then I want to add this to the shop. Change settings in the shop. We'll call this Digital Art Smart. Okay, I think that's all I need to do for that, and then see if it shows up in my store now. Let's see, why am I not showing up? Aaron Rutten. Can't find my own store. Oh, I'll find it. I got a link for it somewhere. Spreadshirt is not the easiest website to use, I gotta say. None of them are. Okay, so it's showing up. Sweet. So now if anybody wants to buy that shirt, you can go to shop.spreadshirt.com. I do need to, of course, tweak some things a bit here. Let's see. Well, anyways, I can do that later after we're done here. But I need to set the price for it and all that stuff. So don't go and buy it yet. Just wait a minute, or wait till you see the video up later, the recording of the live stream up later, and then there'll be a link to it there, and I'll have it all set up proper. So anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for helping me design this shirt. I really appreciate the input, constructive criticism and all that, and compliments and everything. It made the shirt a million times better to have that protractor not be completely jacked up like it was. So thank you for that, Gina and Lee. I'm going to call this a finished live stream and a finished design, and you'll be seeing this design all over my channel. I'm sure you'll be seeing it all over me too. Maybe I'll get to see it all over you, and if you do end up buying this shirt, snap a picture of yourself and tag me in it or something. So anyways, if you want to know when my next live stream will be, it won't be next Saturday, but it'll be the Saturday after that, which is February 4th. That'll be my next live stream. So I'm trying to schedule these ahead of time and give people notice. If you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, that's a good way to get a notification when I've scheduled a live stream and when I am currently live streaming. And you can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff too. I put out notifications there as well. You can check out my website down here at the bottom, aaronrutten.com. I have lots of free tutorials listed on there. I have art courses you can take if you want to learn digital painting in detail. And you can also check out my Patreon, which is the very end of this little bar. You can make a donation of as little as $1, and you can get all kinds of cool perks like longer tutorials that are exclusive to Patreon that come with high-res artwork and PSDs. You can get coupons on my courses. You can watch my new videos ad-free, get your artwork critiqued, download new brushes each month for Corel Painter. There's all kinds of goodies, so definitely check that out. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time.